G'day guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Wildkard. Thank you for being here and watching my content. As always, it is my pleasure and the absolute privilege to be here talking about the greatest sport in the world, rugby. You are here today because obviously it's the mighty Springboks team announcement. But before we get to that, just quickly let you know that the road to Rugby World Cup, the preseason to Rugby World Cup, the warm-up matches will be coming up this weekend. And obviously, there was one already played last week between Italy and Scotland. We will be seeing all the Tier 1 nations in action this weekend. And yes, as every team is going to have to required to trim down their squad down to 33, there will be some interesting selections I will be expecting coming up this weekend for all the Tier 1 nations as they trim down their squad going into the Rugby World Cup. So first up, we've got obviously the Bledisloe Cup / warm-up match being played between New Zealand and Australia in Dunedin. Second Bledisloe Cup. This will be a lunchtime for me at 12:35. Samoa will be playing Tonga in Pacific Nation Cup. Japan will be playing Fiji in Pacific Nations Cup. And on Sunday, officially, the warm-up matches begins. It's essentially Scotland, France, midnight for me. Wales, England, 2 a.m. That's going to be a huge one to see how much both teams have improved. Wales has struggled with sacking of their coach, Wayne Pivac, and obviously England sacking their coach as well. Eddie Jones having Steve Borthwick coming in and really had a poor season as well in the Six Nations. It's not that big of a gap, guys. Obviously Wales having a lot of their veteran players literally quitting before the season, the preseason started. You know, Alan Wynne-Jones and a couple other players really quit the team. Just really leaving both teams in kind of a low and see how they go. And then we've got Romania versus USA. USA obviously not in the Rugby World Cup, didn't qualify. Ireland will be playing against Italy. This will be a big one. Johnny is suspended for the warm-up period. He will not be playing due to his off-field complications with the referee, where he was allegedly, giving a bit of abuse to the referee in the Heineken's European Cup final after the game. And obviously the final game, this is officially a Rugby World Cup warm-up match. This is not be part of the Rugby Championship. Argentina will be hosting South Africa in Buenos Aires. And that is the what's coming up for the weekend for us. And yes, you are here for the most important news of the week. The Springboks team announcement. Hopefully the sound, it's not on. So yeah, obviously the Springboks has sent a trimmed down squad. I think they left 16 players at home. And as expecting, this will be, essentially a match that has 0 to no consequences. And 13 changes for the Springboks going into this match against Argentina. And let's go through the team and see who's made it, who's left out. So Trevor Nyakani gets moved up from the bench to the starting loose set position. Bunging and Banabi gets the number 2 jersey. Thomas du Toit, I think this might be his I don't know if I think he might have started before, but this is at least the first starting for him in the number 3 jersey for the Springboks. He has been quite good. For the Stormers, I think he plays for Stormers, right? Stormers? No, yeah. Sharks. Yeah, no, he has been quite good for the Sharks, actually. It says right here. Thank you for doing my job for me. And then we've got John Klein, who has played 1 game for the Springboks and a couple games for Ireland. 5 games for Ireland previously. And good to see him getting a bit more experience for the Springboks, getting fit into the system. Marvin Orie retains the number 5 jersey. He was playing alongside of Eben Esbeth last week. And getting some more game time in number 5 jersey is quite important for the Springboks. Dion Fourie gets a start at number 6 jersey. Dion Fourie also doubles up as a hooker as well. They do have Joseph Dweeba on the bench. So if the line-out throws are not going well in the second half, Dion Fourie could potentially take over for that matter as well. Franco Moster gets number 7 jersey. He has been coming off the bench a lot, leaving that number 7 jersey to Peter Step du Toit. So Franco Moster has been, he was playing 7 when du Toit was injured, but it's good to see him back at the 7 jersey. Jasper Wiese gets a number 8 jersey once again for the Springboks. filling in for Dwayne Vermeulen. Number 9, Cooper's Reinach. I was expecting him to be starting because Hayden Hendrickse is selected for the team. So they did bring 3 halfbacks for this run. Jaden Hendrickse, Cooper's Reinach, and obviously, what's his name? Yankees, Herschel Yankees. And yes, and I was actually expecting Reinach to be starting because that's something that they did in the past. Reinach is perceived to be a more traditional style for the Springboks, and they seem to like him over Hendrickse. If that was the 2 options left on the table for them. So Reinach gets number 9 start. Manny Labok gets number 10 once again. Michael Zulum Pimpi gets number 11 jersey over Curly Arensa. Andre Esterhuizen. I'm actually really excited to see Esterhuizen playing once again. He looked very, very dominant against Australia in that first test, and just a lot of physicality, belting down the 12 channel. And I do feel like he brings more physicality than Damien Dialendi at the moment. Damien Dialendi really hasn't been informed, to be really frank, and the physicality, the style that the Springboks like to play with the big number 12, Esterhuizen has been fulfilling that role quite well in recent times. Lukanyu gets number 13 jersey coming off the bench for Jesse Krill. Kanan Moody gets number 14 jersey, filling in for Cheslin Kobe. And Damien Willemse, the greatest Springbok in the history of the Springboks, gets number 15 jersey once again, somewhere he's more used to, over Willie Leroux. On the bench now, like we said, we've got Joseph Dweeba, comes in number 16. We've got a newcomer, Gerhard Steenkamp, comes in at number 17 for the Springboks in the loser position. Vincent Koch retains the number 17 and 18 jersey. At number 19, we've got Jean-Luc Dupreez for the Springboks, coming in from the Sharks. And Evan Ross comes in for the number 20 jersey. Herschel Yankees is on the bench. Interestingly, over Jaden Hendrickse, actually. And Jaden Hendrickse has had a bit of family issues, so maybe he's mentally not quite there. He had a bit of a time off, and also maybe he's just not like match fit enough. Jesse Krill gets number 22 jersey, and finally, Kurt Lee Adensa. 50 points already? What? 10 tries in 9 match? What? Oh man. Yeah, so yeah, Kurt Lee Adensa. Oh boy. He's gonna be on the bench to finish off the game for the Springboks. And next up, we've got, obviously, there was some interesting stuff came out of the documentary, I guess you would call it. The Rassie Story of Life and Rugby. That was autobiography, not documentary, autobiography. So in the biography, he actually talked about some really important things that reveal that how much pressure he was under going into the Lions tour. So everybody knows Rassie Erasmus has been criticized a lot for making that 1 hour long video of criticizing the referee Nick Berry. And obviously you don't really know the mental frame these coaches were under going in, making these sort of things and going to the Lions tour. Obviously it was the pandemic, it was lockdowns. So he basically talked about that they were not able to get any game time before the Lions coming in. The Lions were able to play in Europe in the bubble, but the South Africans were not allowed to play at all. Essentially, they were really fighting to get a Springbok A game on the table for the team to get some time. And obviously, they were under tremendous amount of pressure to not lose the Lions tour. And obviously, it's such a big occasion, and not being able to play. Rassie and Jackson Inamba really felt like they had their hands tied behind their backs, not even able to allow, to really, they felt like they were going to get flogged by the Lions, just to the shit fact that they were not able to play any rugby at all. So they were really concerned about that, to the point they were threatening to resign, going to the Lions tour. So it's really understandable after they losing that first test, how much pressure they were under, right? They were, and that's probably, triggered all the response from the video from Rassie Erasmus. But yeah, I really felt like, once you're starting to get the full picture, you're starting to really sympathize with Rassie and the position that he was in for his coaching staff before releasing the 1 hour video, the very controversial one. So I do understand that and sympathize with that quite a bit, because it is a really cutthroat industry that is in. You lose a game, you lose a game at home, and next minute you're being called to get sacked, right? It's a very, very cutthroat, very brutal industry, and they were feeling the pressure, and they felt like they were not able to perform their duties due to the restrictions that was given to them. So yeah, really interesting to see some of this behind the scenes stuff, and potentially might get the book and get a read, and yeah, we'll see. And obviously, following the Rugby Championship, the final rounds, there has been some changes in the Rugby World Rankings. The All Blacks has moved ahead to second place, ahead of France. Oh boy, and obviously Fiji, after defeating Samoa, saw them jump 3 places into the top 10 as well. So really, really prominent performances by Fiji in the last couple weeks in the Pacific Nations Cup. And interestingly, I noticed this as well. All the shit teams are in the same pool. So Australia, Wales, and Fiji are all in the same pool, Pool C. England and Argentina are all in the same pool, Pool D. And then Scotland, South Africa in the same pool, in Pool B. And Ireland as well. And New Zealand, France are in the same pool. So yeah, the rugby pools are quite adequately balanced going into the Rugby World Cup. Thank God. We are still highest ranking team in our pool. So thank God Wallabies still have a chance to making into the quarterfinals. So yes, obviously the terrible loss from the Wallabies on the weekend. A lot of you guys are really mad at me for not getting angry at Eddie Jones. Some of you felt like I've taken the brainwash juice from Eddie Jones, and that's why I was pretty contempt with the loss. So yes, first of all, just wanted to explain myself a little bit why I was pretty happy about the performance from the Wallabies. First of all, this All Blacks team that played on the week, this current generation of All Blacks team is literally the best All Blacks team I have seen since probably 2015. This team is much, much better than the All Blacks team last year. Much, much better than the All Blacks team that lost to France the year before. In fact, this All Blacks team is much, much, much better than the All Blacks team played in the 2019 Rugby World Cup. The players that played in the 2019 World Cup have significantly developed, matured, and got much, much, much better in their respective craft since 2019. So you look at, the big name players, Geordie Barrett, Scotty Barrett, and Rico Ioane, Richie Mo'unga really has some really tough times in recent years, going through those adversities, going through those, needed resilience that needs to be injected into them. And the performances in the last 3 rounds in the Rugby Championship really starting to show that the All Blacks is probably, in my opinion, the team to win the Rugby World Cup this year. I quite frankly, the skill level that the All Blacks playing right now is the best in the world. And I watched the Six Nations. The French team is quite good, and I just don't see the French team matching up to the All Blacks to the full extent from 1 to 23. That's my the depth is just the overall. It's the All Blacks I think is ahead of the French team at the moment. So yes, that's that. So yeah, with that in mind, if I thought the Wallabies was gonna win this game against one of the best All Blacks teams in modern times, I will be insane, right? I will be a moron thinking that the Wallabies was going to win this game in the first place. So there's no reason for me to get mad knowing that the game was going to lose in the first place. And what was important to me going to this game is to see positives out of the Wallabies team, and I felt like they addressed a lot of the positive stuff. Yes, the results are still terrible, but one of the most important thing that really pleased me is seeing the performance of Angus Bell. Angus Bell's, and obviously I'm in the front row union. Angus Bell is, I honestly, the best loose prop I have ever seen out of the Wallabies. He was so good against the All Blacks. I was just blown away. Honestly, I was blown away. Like, he saved the try, like a loose forward, just ripped the ball out of I think it was Aaron Smith's hand as he was putting the ball down on the try line. It was unbelievable, like, reflex. Was able to get down to like rip the ball out of Aaron Smith's hands before he grounded the ball, and then he crashed through the center field, receiving a pass from I think it was from Quake Cooper. Maybe it was receiving a really flat pass, just run a beautiful line, made a break to center field, like something that a world-class center will be envious of. I was super happy to see Angus Bell back in form and playing like an absolute machine. Like, I am, that his performance for the Wallabies is what really made me smile. And honestly, if you bought a ticket to see the Wallabies, that was worth of the admission price. So yeah, obviously still plenty of room to go for Eddie Jones, but that's why I was really happy. And then with all the trash talk and stuff about Eddie Jones, a lot of people were bashing Eddie Jones about the trash talking. He is a draw, so this is a business. Rugby is there to make money. You need to make money to survive, to grow your talents, to waste it on rugby league players. You do need the money to do that. And Eddie Jones has done whatever you say, whether you like him, you hate him, has done a great job of drawing the biggest crowd since 2007 for a rugby test match of 83,000 people. So he's definitely a draw, definitely paying the bills for the Wallabies at the moment. And yes, he just needs to lift it up in the game. But that is something that I am actually quite happy to see as well. And obviously, Fozzie want you to keep quiet, but no, Fozzie, you're gonna win the Rugby World Cup. You are by far the favorite to win it. In my books, I'm going to get a All Blacks jersey just for you, Fozzie. And yes, so this is Fozzie in the post-match will say, please don't tell everyone, keep everyone under the radar. Very funny, Fozzie, very funny. And obviously it's some trash talking. It was pretty funny as well. Eddie Jones was saying that if the All Blacks had lost the game, the economy will crash. So I checked the share market on Monday. Yes, the Kiwi market this was on the weekend. Indeed, people were not expecting the New Zealand to win, right? Everybody made a massive sellout before the weekend. And then as soon as the All Blacks returned, won the match, everything's back to normal and the market's going up again. So yes, that's the New Zealand share market. Eddie Jones has the finger on it. And obviously, the Wallabies are facing some more challenges after the Bledisloe Cup with Alan Alatoa, the tight head prop for the Wallabies, getting a severe Achilles injury. With Tupou looking to have a bit of minor injury as well. So the tight head prop position is looking really thin for the Wallabies. And Eddie, if you need a tight head prop, mate, I'm more than happy to try. But I can't promise anything, but I will promise one thing. I will do my best. I will do my best. Okay, Eddie? So feel free to give me a call to fill in for you at the tight head position. And then obviously the other game on the weekend for the Rugby Championship was between the Springboks and Los Pumas. The big talking point out of this game is obviously the murdering of Grant Williams 16 seconds into the kickoff. And yes, Juan Cruz Malia tried to charge down a exit kick from Williams and basically smacked his hip into Williams' head and knocked him out. So this was a really poor start for both teams. So this was an interesting situation. The referee deemed this and didn't even issue a penalty out of this play. Deemed this just a rugby incident essentially because Malia actually charged the ball down in the process of for hitting Grant Williams. So yeah, so it's interesting to think that because if he had missed the ball, it's 100% a red card, and the referees on the field basically saying that the fact that he hit the ball is no longer considered a reckless play, and then deemed that it was just played on, even though Grant Williams had been carried off on a stretcher. So after the match, obviously there was a lot of discussions, and he has been cited for reckless play, but it's really difficult to see this one because I did agree with the referee at the time. I thought the fact that he hit the ball meant that it wasn't a reckless play, because I mean, he's gonna have to put it, he's gonna have to give it all he can, right? That's the whole point of the game. He's gonna have to give it 100% to try to charge the ball down, and if doing so happens to put him in a position that he could, hit the kicker, it's just what it is, right? And it's just unfortunate that it happens to hit him in the head, hit the ball kicker on the head. So that's kind of like my logic. But then obviously a lot of people are saying, the current guideline for World Rugby is that any contact to the head, even an accidental one, is a red card. So by that logic, this should have been still a red card. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, who knows? It's like, who knows? The rules changes every week. Who knows? But, he is going to be cited, and we're going to know what's going to happen with him. But I felt like he might get a few weeks off because of it, for reckless play. And then we've got some news out of, obviously there was some really sad news for Scotland. Stewart Hogg announced his retirement a few weeks ago, and then he was revealed last week that, yeah, he had a bit of a, like, why he decided to quit, before. He's just really not feeling, basically, himself, feel drained by the game. One of the key things that he talked about is that he had a bit of a knee operation, and when he returned from the knee operation, he was just not able to, his body was just not able to cope anymore. He was the slowest person in the tests, and then he just didn't feel like he was mentally and physically ready to play any more rugby, and it's really sad. He's only 31 years of age, and he's one of the most important players for the Scottish team in the Rugby World Cup at the fullback position, so they're really going to miss him quite a lot, the Scottish side. Going to Australia now, to James O'Connor, the Rabbit, we call him Rabbit, in Queensland, has signed a deal with I guess the Reds to be a coach following his rugby career. He's going to be, developing emerging talents. So I'm guessing he's going to be probably giving Michael Liner's son a little bit of Tom Liner, Lawson, Crichton, and some of these younger guys a bit more of his experience. Telling them to not go party too hard, obviously, to not let the fame get to their head will be the key lesson out of old Rabbit here to the younger guys from the Reds. And then we've got, obviously you already talked about this, Ireland's got a game this weekend, and Johnny Sexton will not be available due to the suspension. So the TMO bunker is currently being trialled. You probably already noticed in the Rugby Championship, and this will be something that could potentially be added into the Rugby World Cup. So the TMO bunker is basically that when in a case of clear and obvious, they would just issue a red card right away. Like if someone just punches another person, they would just be like, yeah, that's a red card, you're off. But in the case where it's a bit difficult to judge, they will show 2 replays, right? If 2 replays cannot determine whether it's a red card or whether it's a yellow card, then the referee on the field will issue a yellow card. And then they will go to the bunker, and the bunker will, basically the TMO, will look at the incident in details while the game is playing on. And then if the TMO determines that the foul play has reached the threshold of a red card, then the referee will before the yellow cards expires, that is, if the yellow cards, like before the yellow 8 minutes, essentially, they're given 8 minutes. And then if that's determined to be worthy of red card, then the referee will be notified on the field, and then that player will be off the field permanently for the remainder of the game. So yeah, that is going to be trialed right now. This is something that the Super Rugby has been doing in Australia, but in Super Rugby, it's going to be a red card is obviously 20 minutes. So yeah, if it was deemed a red card in Super Rugby, the player will be allowed back. Will not be allowed back, but a replacement will be allowed back onto the field after 20 minutes. But this one, if it's deemed a red card, he's off for the remainder of the game and no replacements. So that's the bunker to be tried, and if this worked, this will be introduced to the Rugby World Cup. Finally, finally the Michael Leach, the Japanese captain, was cited for a dangerous headshot, and then he's been banned for 3 matches, with reduction down to 2 if he does a tackling school, attends tackling school. So that's for him. And I was gonna look at some of the stats from the Wallabies. I did, I do think that the one thing that I did notice when I go through the stats, like I said, the defense is actually a lot better for the Wallabies. Like the work rate for some of the Wallabies players, I'm actually really, really pleased. Like, Tom Hooper, someone I criticized a lot, really put in a good shift. 30 tackles. I don't think I've ever seen 30 tackles for for anyone in an international test level. 5 missed tackles, probably should get that down a bit, but considering he's made 30, that's something that you can work. Nick Frost, 23 tackles, 5 missed tackles. Again, huge numbers. This one, Valentini, 20 tackles, 0 missed tackles. Really, really good numbers. Tenel Tupou, 3 missed tackles. Obviously, he was hurt a little bit. I'm really pleased with the overall defense for the players. Attacking, so here's something that I did notice, that the Wallabies, something that I noticed during the game as well. The support running from the Wallabies is a little bit bad, and it kind of shows in the stats as well. So if you look at the one number, like overall, if you look at the run meters, right, compared to the New Zealanders, New Zealand have more run meters, but it's not like absurd. Like in the international test match, it's not like clear. Like one team is better. Like Tele had a good run somewhere, but it's not clear what the issue is. But the one thing that is very, very clear is the ability of the New Zealand forward pack to be involved in the attack as a assist in attack. So the passes, so P for passes, so the number of passes the New Zealand forwards completely dominated the Australian forwards, especially in the loose forwards. It just shows how much involvement there are in the New Zealand attack in supporting the back line, passing the ball, creating space for the backs. You can see Frizzell 10, Papali'i 6 passes, Adesavia 10 passes, and even the front rowers 3-1-1. And if you look at the Australian side, the forwards really have very little involvement in terms of their passes. Like the front rowers, Angus Bell is the only one that had 1 pass. No one else had any passes. The back rowers as well, a little bit of involvement in the locks, but the back rowers is probably the main thing that really let the Wallabies down. Like Holloway, Hooper, and Valentini, only 4 passes and only 8 passes in total, whereas Adesavia himself has committed more passes in the back line than the entire loose forwards of the Wallabies. So that is one area that the Wallabies I felt like could definitely improve on, and that was one of the biggest difference that was between the two teams. And something Eddie Jones can work on. So anyway, let me know your thoughts, guys. Thanks for watching this video. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys for the reviews this weekend. Cheers.